Hello and welcome into today's edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hicks and I'm the lead beat writer for Arizona State Sun Devils on SI. And this is a very awesome Saturday afternoon. I wish happy Saturday to each and every one of you. And today is a massive day for the Arizona State football program. Tonight is the final scrimmage that the team will be taking part in front of media before the season opener on August 30th against Northern Arizona. And there's so much to look forward to tonight. It will unfortunately be behind closed doors. Obviously, fans can't see it, and we are not allowed to take any video during the duration of the practice either. It will last from about 6:30 until about 8:30. But afterwards, Coach Dillingham will have media availability, and I will be getting video from that. We'll be breaking down what he tells us, and I will be breaking down uh, what I witnessed from practice without having access to capture video, obviously. But it's a huge day. As of right now, as of this recording, we are 2 weeks out from the Sun Devil season starting and 1 week out from the Big 12 kicking off with the Iowa State Kansas State game in Dublin, Ireland, obviously. The Sun Devils, as we know, 11th ranked team in the nation. There are a lot of high end players from last season's team that are returning this season, including quarterback Sam Levitt, wide receiver Jordan Tyson, and defensive lineman CJ Fight, amongst others. And the Sun Devils are set to open the season with a very favorable non-conference schedule. Uh, Northern Arizona, Mississippi State, obviously that's a challenge in non-conference, and Texas State, which was a challenge last season in San Marcos, Texas, but it should be the script should be flipped in Tempe, and yeah, the scrimmage tonight will cap off a largely successful fall camp season. Next week will be the official end, will mark the official end of fall camp with practices on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But this is really the litmus test we will get, the most glaring litmus test that we will get about the team heading into the season. And I wanted to honor that by doing a fall camp superlatives for the Arizona State football program. And I'm going to be giving out 4 different awards to different players on the roster that have particularly stood out to me. And let's get into that. So for the first award, I wanted to do the offensive MVP so far. And there are a lot of worthy contenders for this award. You could go with the safe answer like a Jordan Tyson. You could go with Kyson Brown. You could go with a Shimon Mateer. You could even go with a Kamari Anderson. But I am going to go with Jaron Hamilton. As most of you have seen and heard, Jaron Hamilton had a good spring camp and he's had a phenomenal fall camp. The Alabama transfer is showing every bit of the talent that obviously drew Nick Saban's attention in to him ahead of the 2023 class, I believe. For whatever reason, he didn't see the field much at Alabama, but now he gets to fully show off his skill set in Tempe. And I think a lot of people, Sun Devil fans included, just assumed that he was going to be an over the top threat and only that. But he has shown so much more than just being an over the top threat and a burner. He is very well rounded. He has a spectacular release. He's really showed off his route running chops. He's blocked. He's run jet sweeps. He's really done a little bit of everything. And it's pretty evident that Hines Ward has had an impeccable impact on him. The biggest highlight that I've seen so far in fall camp is the 60-yard touchdown. It was roughly 60 yards from Sam Levitt to Hamilton in the end zone where he secured a catch over potential starting cornerback Montana Warren. That just really capped off what a special offseason Hamilton has had, and he very well could be a perfect complement to Jordan Tyson this season. Now for the second award, defensive MVP, again, you could give it out to a number of guys. You could say Jordan Crook, who has shown immeasurable growth from year one to year two with the Sun Devil program. You could say a Kenrick Breedlove, who is in line to potentially start at the nickel corner spot. It's between him and Montana Warren, as I mentioned before. You could say a Keith Abney. You could say an Adrian Boogie Wilson, who has been a machine when it comes to creating turnovers over the last couple of weeks. But I'm going to go with Justin Watley. The Cincinnati transfer came to Arizona State ahead of last season. He had his moments in 2024, but he looks like a completely different player in 2025. It's well documented that he's lost about 15 pounds since the offseason began. Uh, he looks way more explosive, way more comfortable in the system. He's retained roughly the same amount of strength that he had before. He's coming off the edge in a lot of different scenarios in practice. He really could be a major X factor to the defense reaching its ceiling this year, which I believe is truly a top 15 unit in college football. This defense is very, very talented. Brian Ward is a very, very good coach who knows how to push the right buttons at the right moments, and I'm very excited to see what they can do. Um, for true freshman standout for the true freshman standout award, I want to give that to Cameron Dyer. There are quality freshmen that are on the roster that probably won't see the field much this season, such as Corey Butler Jr. and Uriah Nellums in the wide receiver room, among others. But Cameron Dyer is the standout for me. He really hasn't even been fully cleared to play in a full capacity on a football field yet. Coach Dillingham said about 2 weeks ago that he was about a month away, so we could reasonably expect that he gets fully cleared around the game one of the season at the end of the month. But Dyer continues to look more comfortable by the day as a passer out on the practice field. He really has a natural throwing motion. He has a strong arm. He's very strong ball placement wise when it comes to especially a freshman quarterback. He's on the same page with most of the receivers that he's taking snaps with. He looks like potentially the early favorite to take over for Sam Leavitt if and when Leavitt decides to depart Arizona State early for the NFL. And yeah, I just wanted to shout out Cameron Dyer for being a real professional throughout this process. Obviously, going through an injury, Sam Leavitt really praised him for the way he's handled that in his media availability yesterday. So I really wanted to shout out the freshman from New Mexico in this episode. And last but not least, the transfer award. So we all know Arizona State didn't need to bring in a whole lot of transfers due to having a roster that largely returned. But there were guys such as Kanye Udo who came in as a running back from Army. You have Adrian Boogie Wilson. You have Nyland Green. You have Jalen Moss. You have Jaron Hamilton. And since I already mentioned Jaron Hamilton in one of these awards, I didn't want to replicate it. I wanted to come up with a new name, so I wanted to name Adrian Boogie Wilson as my top transfer award. He came over from Washington State. He had a very, very successful season there last year. He won't start for Arizona State unless an injury happens. Obviously, Xavion Alford and Ghost Rouser both have the starting spots locked up, but Boogie does give Brian Ward a lot more flexibility to be more aggressive, to be more creative, to really wreak havoc on quarterbacks like he did last season. We all know how good Arizona State was at creating turnovers, and Boogie just seems to have a nose for the football at any given time. He's very aggressive, very strong tackler, very physical, very, very smart football player, and Dillingham really has had nothing but good things to say about him so far. And from my estimation, he's really been one of the standout defensive players, period. Really, him, CJ Fight, Jordan Crook, and Justin Watley have been the guys that have stood above the rest so far in general. Obviously, it's a very talented unit nonetheless, but there are a few guys that have stood above the rest, and I cannot say how impressed I am. I cannot overstate how impressed I am with this roster. I really do believe that Sun Devil fans will be very pleased with the product that they are getting this season. And that is all for today. Before I depart, please follow me on X/Twitter at khicks_21. I will be posting video content, story content, and everything in between when I get the opportunities to do so. And I could not do it without each and every one of you supporting me every single day. And I will see you tomorrow.